be bold and experiment with the lighting. You can figure out the logic tomorrow. My name is Lin. Like Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, I've gone through many names, though unfortunately I have no connection to Howl himself. For now, I go by SayHANa, though in Chinese-speaking regions, people often just call me Lin Hua. I'm just an ordinary person without any big goals. I both love and hate drawing. I wake up in a bad mood, but eating something delicious instantly makes me happy. When I'm not working on commercial commissions, I play games. That's my ideal life. The kind of work I usually do is a mix of navigating the psychological tug-of-war with clients and creating the illustrations they've requested. I still vividly remember the first time I saw the transformation sequence in Sailor Moon. My heart raced, and that feeling was the beginning of everything. From there, I discovered more anime, manga, and games I liked, along with incredible fan works based on them. That doubled my happiness, and I thought, I want to create scenes like these too. At first, I only drew girls, but as time went on, I started challenging myself to draw boys as well. The works I'm drawn to have evolved as I've grown. As a child, I loved shoujo manga like Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura. As I got older, I moved on to shonen manga like Hunter x Hunter and Demon Slayer. Then, as an adult, I discovered more mature works like Made in Abyss and Yakuza. It's hard to find a common thread, but as someone who expresses myself through single illustrations, I deeply admire those who can tell stories through manga, anime, or games. Thank you to all of the creators and teams who have kept me inspired and supported my mental health. The creators I followed at the time were all using Pixiv, so I started using it too. Back then, the Hatsune Miku community had so many amazing and diverse visuals, which I absolutely loved. I graduated as a graphics communications major, and honestly, my time in school was really rough. I often questioned my choices, but the resources and knowledge I gained about printing were useful when it came to bringing my works into physical form. Looking back, though, my main thought is still, wow, that was rough. I feel it when I can accept other people's compliments wholeheartedly and genuinely believe that I've done good work. Those are the moments when I feel happiest. Understanding, accepting, and being kind to yourself is enough. You don't always have to overcome every hardship. I'm not a very methodical person, so I'm terrible at line art. But because I'm so bad at it, whenever I manage to draw it even slightly better, it makes me really happy. For me, the excitement or charm in the eyes is essential to the expression and overall atmosphere of the piece. That's why I especially enjoy drawing them. I don't follow any specific techniques or steps. Sometimes I draw them first, sometimes later. The great thing about digital art is that I can erase and redo things as many times as I need. I just keep tweaking and adjusting until I get that this is it feeling. For me, the most important thing is that I truly like what I'm drawing. The eyes and expressions must feel right to me. If I had to sum up my taste in characters with one word, it would be repressed. Wait, can I say that? But it's true, I really love it. I'm an adult, so I think it's fine to admit that. Even when I think I'm done, I double-check for little mistakes I might have overlooked. The way I draw makes me susceptible to leaving stray lines or dots. Sometimes they're still scattered around the face. It's funny how those tiny problems always reveal themselves at the last moment, almost as if saying, hey, I've been here all along. It irks me so much. As I've seen more and more inspiring works, I started wanting to challenge myself with new things. But over the past few years, I've come to realize that new directions and challenges haven't been things I've actively sought out. Instead, they've come to challenge me, much like this collaboration. I think that's what brought about the changes. I use a Wacom Intuos Pro M. Ever since I switched from a mouse to a tablet, I've stuck with it. I didn't have much money back then, and so I rarely upgraded to anything new. I tried an LCD tablet once, and I think it's great for people with experience in traditional drawing because it feels very intuitive. But I personally prefer being able to work without covering part of the screen with my hand. I didn't use gloves back then, and sometimes the friction between my hand and the screen felt like sparks were about to fly. I don't actually create original works very often. I'm not the create from scratch kind of artist, which is probably why I'm so passionate about fan art. That said, Sinsen Guanyue opened up new creative directions for me. Ideas just started flowing naturally. Things I wanted to create both for the character and for the people who support the character. I've also been lucky enough to have special opportunities, like collaborations with cafes, birthday celebration events, a joint paper doll exhibition at Shinkon Mitsukoshi, and I even created the cover illustration for artists in Taiwan this time around. Who knows? Maybe one day this will lead me to even more places I've never been. All of this has been such a beautiful experience for me, and I'm truly honored. I didn't originally set out to become an illustrator. After I left my previous job, I found myself with some time on my hands and decided to take on a few illustration commissions. That same year, there was a major earthquake in Tainan, and it made me realize that there is no guarantee of it tomorrow. That pushed me to try doing what I wanted while I still had the chance. I never imagined it would lead me to where I am today. The major turning point in my career as an illustrator would definitely be working on the art for the Japanese-style fantasy game, Onmyoji. Not only was it a theme I personally loved, but I got to collaborate with a really talented art team. It felt like cooking in a top-notch kitchen with the best ingredients and recipes. It naturally pushed me to give my all and create something better. But with such high stakes came equal amounts of pressure and anxiety. I realized that high-pressure projects can be a double-edged sword. Most of the time, I play games. I really recommend playing games. And after that, playing some more games isn't a bad idea either. I wouldn't say I'm great at managing social media accounts, but if I had to trace it back, I'd say it started on Plurk. Connecting with people who shared my interests brought so much joy into my life. You might not believe this, but I had no choice. I made a casual bet on something, and before I knew it, I was under this intense pressure to deliver something that I was entirely unqualified to do. It felt like I was thrown into the deep end, completely unprepared, but I managed. But Sensen Guanyue has become an irreplaceable treasure to me. I can honestly say that it brought me happiness. Explaining that happiness concretely, though, is difficult. There's so much I want to do as a VTuber. Not all of it comes naturally to me. Some tasks are challenging, and I've even had to abandon projects that were just too ambitious. Still, over time, I've realized that I don't need to aim for perfection. Doing what makes me happy and having fun with it is enough. When I look back, all I see are wonderful memories. That's what happiness looks like for me. If I was to give my younger self advice, I would tell her to stop drawing with a mouse. I managed back then somehow, but some injuries don't heal. So take care of yourself. It reminded me of our previous collaboration. After my initial surprise about getting this job, memories of that experience came rushing back. For our first collaboration, Vofan was in charge of the main visual. At that time, there was an opportunity to sign the backdrop along with the other illustrators. But for some reason, I was directed to sign in the bottom right corner. I was the only one? It ended up looking as though my signature was taking the place of Vofan's as the main artist, which was so embarrassing. This time, however, since I created the main visual, I think it's finally okay for me to sign like the actual artist. Be bold and experiment with the lighting. You can figure out the logic tomorrow. While it's true that having a clear direction before starting can help you reach your goal faster, for someone like me, overthinking everything makes it too intimidating to draw. It's better to be brave and boldly scribble away first. Sometimes things unexpectedly turn out looking great. If the face looks pretty, that's all that matters. Everything else can wait. Humans are naturally visual creatures that are sensitive to faces, but aesthetic preferences differ from person to person. My tastes have also changed over time. I don't have any special techniques, but occasionally, looking back at my old drawings helps me reflect on myself and confirm my direction. I think it's quite good practice. The motif that I included in this piece is a bathtub with floral tiles, a design commonly seen in traditional Taiwanese households. My pen name is Linhua, which means forest flower, so I thought, let's draw flowers. Cool, right? No, sorry, that's a joke. The truth is, before I took on this job, I attended my grandfather's funeral. During the funeral, I spent time in the prayer hall on the rooftop of the house he built. That's when I noticed the tiles on the floor. Each one had a different, beautiful pattern, but they were arranged in such a mismatched way. Curious, I asked my family about it, and they told me that when my grandfather built the house, he collected discarded tiles to save money and laid them out himself. Hearing that, I thought, that's so like him. To preserve the memory, I took pictures of them with my phone. For this piece, I used the patterns from those tiles as a starting point. I incorporated floral patterns, stained glass, and a bathtub made with colorful stones to add a sense of richness. The bathtub also naturally brings water to mind, so I included the cherry salmon, a fish native to Taiwan whose name includes the Chinese characters for a type of flower, the cherry blossom. Since I began with floral tiles as a theme, I felt I also had to include some special flowers. I did some research and decided to draw plants native to Taiwan. I didn't have much time, so I can't say it's perfect, but the process made me eager to draw even more, and I even ended up extending my deadline. Sorry about that. Still, this project gave me the chance to learn about Taiwan's unique and endangered plants. I incorporated these flowers and plants into the tile patterns and clothing designs. In the past, I participated in the TCDC's Disease Personified project, where I had the chance to learn about conditions I normally wouldn't have encountered. I think it's great to gain knowledge through drawing. These plants aren't necessarily drawn for experts, but rather to inspire curiosity and interest in those who see this illustration. Some may never see these plants in person, but if you're interested in the Taiwan thistle, for example, you can spot it on the 1,000 new Taiwan dollar bill. When considering the composition for this project, a horizontal layout worked best to fit the bathtub. However, creating the composition for the book cover in a way that made the tub easily recognizable was tricky. I actually submitted 4 different rough sketches this time, a rare move for me. Honestly, I deserve some praise for not giving up, even when I felt like I might throw up during the process. I don't think the color combination for this project is perfect, but I always try to challenge myself with colors. Last time, I used darker tones, so this time I wanted to experiment with a softer pastel palette. When I created the camellia stained glass last time, I thought I'd never face a bigger challenge. But when this project came along, it brought even greater pressure. As I mentioned earlier, during this period, my grandfather passed away, and it brought back vivid memories of my childhood spent at my grandparents' house. During the funeral, I reflected on those memories and found myself imagining the world before I was even born. Inspired by the tile patterns I saw during his funeral, I added floral tiles, floral windows, floral decorations, flowers, and even a round red plastic basin that I really used as a child. These pieces of personal memories represent what feels most Taiwanese to me. By the way, in my previous work, I included a girl with buffalo horns to tie into the Year of the Ox. This time, I've hidden a similar connection. I'll let you try and find it for yourself. If the creator loves it, it doesn't matter what others think. That's what makes it a good work of art. My goal is for the goals to find me? I don't have a strong desire to take on anything new. I'm not a fan of heights or anything dangerous. Honestly, I just wish for everyone to stay healthy. What started as a platform to showcase my work has gradually turned into a place where I share not just my art, but also my thoughts and everyday life. And I clearly don't plan on stopping anytime soon. To everyone who's stayed with me, supported me, and given me the freedom to be myself, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to meeting you all again.